Hey Kipsters, it's Miss Tatum. Make sure that you watch this entire video and answer the questions and watch me as I make an inference from the text, okay? And so today you'll learn to use text clues and what you already know to draw inferences about a text, okay? We'll draw inferences about the crossover so you can better understand the characters and the text meaning, okay? And if you don't know what an inference is, it's using what you already know and evidence from the text to read between the lines and figure out what the author is saying. And so you're gonna watch me do this right now. So the first step is asking, what do you need to figure out? This is usually a question that I, the teacher, is going to ask you. And so you're gonna watch me make an inference and figure out, why does the writer use big and small letters? Why are words in unusual places on the page? Okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do is go back to the text and look for clues. Sometimes authors don't give all the answers directly in the text. Then we use clues to figure out an answer. You are gonna watch me go back to a poem on page 3 from the crossover titled Dribbling, because I remember this is a poem that had lots of big letters and unusual letters on the page. I will be using the Draw It feature to annotate while I find text evidence. And so the first thing that I am going to do is grab my highlighter tool. Okay? And I want to look at all of the letters that have something in common. And so I notice that a lot of the words are in all caps. And so I can see that we have moving and grooving, rocking, bumping, locking, thumping. You get the idea. And I have to think, why would the author put all of these words in all caps? Well, I can already tell they have something in common, right? These are all action words, in particular action words that you would see basketball players doing on the court, right? I can also support this because the title of the poem is Dribbling, which is a basketball action. So I'm going to get my text box and I'm just going to write my thinking, right? And I'm going to say action words are in all caps, right? The next thing I want to look at is I want to look at the words that are in unusual positions. So I'm going to change my color. And I can see that slipping, oops, let me change my color. I can see that slipping and swoosh are typed unusually, right? And so both of these words are actually spelled or written out the way they sound, right? I can imagine someone slipping when I see the way the author wrote these words. Similarly with the word swoosh, I can imagine the ball going into the net. And so I'm gonna go ahead and grab my text box, make it a different color. Okay. Miss Tatum is having, okay. And then I'm just going to say unusual positions. And I'm gonna say they sound like what they mean, period. So I went ahead and gathered and went back to the text in order to use the clues to figure out an answer. So I'm going to keep going. The next step is I need to think about the evidence that I just gathered and what I already know about those things, okay? And so I know that basketball players dribble, right? And I know that these action words describe the basketball moves, right? The swoosh is literally the ball going through the net. Okay, so I already know these things. I've seen basketball, I've watched people play basketball, so I know maybe why the author put the words unusually and in all caps. So I'm gonna put all those clues together, including what I know, and I'm gonna think, why did the author do this? And I'm gonna make an inference, right? And so I believe that the words on the page mirror the speaker zigzagging across the court, right? The speaker being Josh, who is a basketball player, right? And so the words on the page mirror Josh zigzagging across the court, right? Ending with him making the ball into the basket, swoosh. So I already annotated my text, so I would be able to go back and look for my evidence, okay? And so I need to make sure and choose the strongest evidence, right? I'm going to teach you more about this tomorrow in lesson 1, part 2. But in order to pick the strongest evidence, you need to make sure that it is relevant. That means it connects to all parts of your idea. It is frequent. That means it's in many parts of the text. And it is specific, right? It is exact and detailed. And so the evidence that I chose that is relevant, it connects to all the parts of my idea. That the reason the author did this is to mirror Josh playing a basketball game, okay? Because the basketball action words that he uses, right? The player begins at the top of the key and ends with the swoosh when he made the basket, right? More evidence that I could collect that is frequent, it's in many parts of the text, right? Are all of the basketball action words that appear in the whole poem, okay? So now I have tons of evidence to support my inference. Right? And so now I'm going to put it all together and make a college-ready response that I'm going to teach you about later this week called a race response. And I'm going to think, why does the writer use big and small letters? Why are words in unusual places on the page? Right? And I am going to put it all together and say the author uses big and small letters, big and small words on the page to mirror Josh zigzagging across the court, right? I know this because, and I'm going to include my evidence, I know this because basketball words appear throughout the poem like swoosh. Okay, so next you're going to fill in the blank with some key ideas. Make sure to do this and turn in your work when you are done. Good luck.